St. Vincent to win. Look around, we're losing at everything. And I want the country to win. I really want St. Vincent to win.
Thank you, Fuji. East Kingston, good night. Tongue Hill, good night. Tongue Hill, good night. Now, I was caught in a little dilemma as to whether to really go in and talk about what I wanted to talk about or just say some pertinent things, because tonight, as Brother Kish said, this is a kind of a history in the making. As far as I've been informed, this is the second meeting held at this location in the history of politics in St. Vincent. I'm subject to correction. And as he quite rightly pointed out, that's because I want to make sure that no one is left out. Let me back up a little bit and recognize the presence and express my appreciation for the presence of our esteemed leader, president, and next prime minister of this country, Dr. Godwin Friday. I also want to express gratitude to our vice presidents, Nature and Major, to Chairman Cummins and fellow candidates, Conroy Huggins from Central Leeward, my brother Dr. Kishore Shallow from North Leeward, Sister Lavon Velox from East St. George, the General Secretary of the party, Brother Brenton Smith, who I believe made his debut presentation on a platform tonight. So you see, East Kingston doing a lot of first. We're creating a lot of history in many ways. And I also want to thank as well the brethren from in the north, on the windward side, Brother Arian Smart, they call him Spaceman, and Brother Rasjan. When I met those guys out at Brother Chieftain's meeting in Byra, and I was chatting with them, and I said, why all they don't come and talk at East Kingston? And them fellas say, what? It's like they couldn't wait for the invitation. And I really appreciate their presence and support here tonight. But most importantly, I want to recognize my predecessors, the gentlemen who represented this constituency before me. And I'm talking about Brother Eddie Griffith of blessed memory, Brother Carlyle Duggan, and our former leader and former Prime Minister, Brother Arnim Eustace. And not to forget also Brother Marcus De Freitas, who represented this constituency and who is here tonight. I'm not sure if he's still here. But these gentlemen not only represented this constituency with distinction and successfully, but their representation was an indication of the appreciation of this new Democratic Party to the people of East Kingston, who have elected a new Democratic Party candidate to represent them for 40 consecutive years. And I am quite sure that that is unprecedented in the history of St. Vincent politics. 40 consecutive years. And I have to say that 17 out of those 40 years, when the New Democratic Party was in government, East Kingston did well. The people of East Kingston did well. And just to quickly remind you of some of the things that East Kingston enjoyed when the New Democratic Party was in government. You see the cruise ship boat right down there? That was constructed by the New Democratic Party government. When the New Democratic Party was in government, we had traffic lights in this town where we did not have the type of traffic problems that we enjoy today. The traffic lights are no more. We had the Agro Lab in French's right down there. You hear we talking about the agriculture and food processing and value-added agriculture, where we're going to add value to our produce to make more money and make our economy more vibrant. That was started in East Kingston, right there in French's, when the New Democratic Party was in government. Albeit, although it was a private entity, the New Democratic Party government created the environment and provided the support for our private business people. That is what we enjoyed as a nation and as a constituency when the New Democratic Party was in government. Over the last 25 years, East Kingston in particular have endured suffering and have endured a level of underdevelopment and non-progress that is arguably unprecedented in this country. And you hear people say from time to time, boy, what East Kingston do them, man? Why they punishing East Kingston so? Why are they neglecting East Kingston like that? And the evidence is there to support it. I ain't coming here and running off my mouth. The evidence is there to support it. Let me start with infrastructure. Much of East Kingston is located in what we call a suburban area, not far from downtown Kingston. So you know that there are certain requirements and certain amenities and certain things that that East Kingston must provide or must be the recipient of in order to support activities in downtown Kingston. So East Kingston has a pretty decent mix of commercial business entities and activities and residential entities and activities. It's a mix. Unlike some other constituencies where they're primarily residential and maybe rural. So infrastructure is very important, and I am not even going to go into the details of the different types of infrastructure because the conditions of the roads in East Kingston alone is enough testimony to verify the fact that the Unity Labour Party government over the last 25 years has neglected East Kingston. Let me give you a quick example. I entered this parliament in 2020, almost 5 years ago to the day. And every time almost when I go into parliament, I bawling, begging the government to fix Dorsetshire Hill Road. Every year for 5 years. And all they do, every National Heroes Day when it comes around, they go and they patch up the road. Patch up the road. Look at the roads in East Kingston. For the 5 years, the only road they fix is the road wrong there by Langwall coming from Cane Garden. And they just recently fixed the road down in Roseau. Down by Paula, going across by Crossroads. That is it. For a constituency that is a suburban constituency where your infrastructure is important and the proper maintenance of infrastructure is important, it is a crying shame. When you leave in on the windward side to come into downtown Kingston, I can't think of any other way of getting into downtown Kingston from the windward side than passing through East Kingston. You have to, any one of them road bringing you through East Kingston. If you go on Dorset, if you go up Queen Drive and come on Dorsetshire Hill, that is East Kingston. If you go down by Technical College and come up through Roseau, East Kingston. If you come up, when you reach Pantap Sion Hill, you could go up Plumtree, come on Rockies through my village, East Kingston. If you go on Sion Hill, London Road and come on Cane Garden, Langwall, East Kingston. So how could you neglect the proper maintenance of such important infrastructure? It baffles me. And we could talk about so many other areas of neglect. But the last one I want to touch on in the interest of time is the issue of crime. We know, you don't have to go to university to know, that in any country, you're always going to have challenges with regards to crime. We know that. And no one government can completely eliminate crime. That is a fact. So don't mind the distractors who come and tell you, oh, and deep talking like if when them they get there, you not go have no crime. Come on, let's lift the level of our discourse. We know better than that. The one observation that I want to remind you of, the one harsh and painful reality that this constituency experienced a little over 2 years ago in Little St. Vincent and the Grenadines. When you look at TV, CNN and BBC and so, just recently in Minnesota in the United States, we saw the very unfortunate and gruesome activity where a gunman went into a Catholic church where the Catholic school was having their back-to-school service and killed off some people. And we hear all the time about mass murders and mass shootings in different, mostly developed countries. In St. Vincent and the Grenadines about 2 years ago, the only mass shooting we ever had in this country, where 5 young men were gunned down not too far from here, was in East Kingston. In East Kingston. And up to this day, as far as I know, nothing has been done to even pick up somebody to say, well, we have a suspect here or we have a suspect there. So the people of East Kingston, we have been made to endure some very undesirable realities over the last 25 years. I'm not up here to bash no government or to bash anybody. I am up here to give you our realities as a constituency called East Kingston. Not to talk about the other macro-national issues which affect us. The high debt that we endure, the high rate of unemployment. They tell you that the current rate of unemployment, every Monday morning they're giving you a different figure. But I can tell you that in East Kingston, I did my own analysis and survey. I am an economist, I'm a social scientist, so I know a little bit about how to do those things. And sometimes you don't have to run about and brag and put everything on social media for people to know what you're doing. But I am telling you, based on my analysis, in East Kingston, the rate of youth unemployment is higher than the average that they tell us. They say it's 4 out of 10 right now, about 40%. In East Kingston, the rate of youth unemployment is close to 6 out of 10, close to 60%. And if you don't believe me, walk around anywhere in East Kingston on the blocks. 9 o'clock in the morning, the block up Sign Hill full of young men. And it's not because they're worthless and they want not to do nothing. It's because they have been deprived of opportunities. And don't come and tell me no foolishness about, oh, when we're looking for people for work, we can't find people for work and this and that. Of course, you're going to find 1 or 2 delinquent ones. That happens everywhere. But when the reality of 6 persons, young persons in East Kingston, I ain't talking about guys who just this, so you know. I'm talking about young men. Many of them finish community college. We ain't talking about no joke, man. Young men with talent and skills and education and ambition. But this government has written them off. They have written them off, and all they do is mama guide them and give them a whole set of broken promises. I ain't going to call nobody name because in my view, my objective is to explain to the people of East Kingston why they should continue to support me and to support the New Democratic Party. Doc, I ain't going to stay too long, Doc and Major, because I know you guys have to speak after me. But you would appreciate that I am home. And when I am home, I got to set the table good. I can't give you soup and put knife and fork. I have to put soup with spoon. You understand? So I got to put the thing in order. So bear with me a little bit. I won't be too long. But East Kingston is a very hospitable constituency. So I can guarantee you that people ain't going home till the meeting done. Look, you know, this government seems to be focusing, and all of these things that I'm telling you about, all of these shortcomings of the Unity Labour Party, when you listen to them, you might want to conclude that is the NDP fault. All they do is blame the NDP for their inadequacies and their non-performance. NDP this, NDP that, NDP na do, NDP do. NDP is the opposition of this country. The people of this country gave you the job as the government, the ULP party. The people of this country gave you a job to do. And if you don't do your job, then we will tell you you're not doing your job. And if you don't buck up, then we're going to put you out of town, including out of East Kingston. Look, a former prime minister in the Caribbean said this. Allow me to quote this. And he said, I don't know if it applied to him because he just recently lost the elections. I'm talking about former Prime Minister Keith Rowley. And this is what he said, and I quote, listen carefully. He said, anytime a government resorts to blaming the opposition for its failure to deliver on their mandate and their responsibilities to the people, it is a clear sign that they have accepted that they have outlived their usefulness. So the Unity Labour Party have already accepted that they have failed the country. They have outlived their usefulness. The Prime Minister is tired, expired, and about to be retired, and all they could do is blame the NDP. But I know the people of East Kingston are very, very intelligent people. And the people of East Kingston understand that the only way we can move forward is by continuing to support the New Democratic Party's candidate in East Kingston and to support the New Democratic Party in moving forward. I want to finish up by saying this, or by quickly touching on a few things. My team and I, and let me just say this, and I hope my team members don't take this as a sleight of hand, but I want to also recognize the hard and diligent work of Team East Kingston. We used to say Team Bramble, but we gone past that. Team East Kingston. All of Team East Kingston, the executive members, the strategists, the members on the core team, the technical people who does help we set up with public meetings, all the ladies and other supporters who help us when we have a beach splash. Without you, I wouldn't be here tonight. And I know sometimes people in the constituency, they get upset with me. Bramble, we not see you. Or I might have, said something to somebody and forgot what I said. Because there's a lot of people I deal with. And people take things personally. And rightfully so. A fella told me the other day, I was saying, boy, I don't know what else to do. I don't think there's any other candidate who gets around as much as that. Well, Major say he. So I go default to Major because every morning when I go in gym, I see Major walking and he don't build up a sweat. So I don't know Majors get the energy from. But on a serious note, I know I get around in this constituency. I have not sat down, proverbially speaking, since I was elected in 2020. Of course, there's a lot of room for improvement. I know that. I know that. I don't need anybody to tell me that. But when you tell me that, I appreciate the comments nonetheless. I know there's a lot of room for improvement. And I know there are some things that I could do better. But the one thing I'll tell you, nothing that I do or say in East Kingston is intended to harm or to hurt any of my constituents. So don't take it as such. If you don't see me, don't cuss and carry on and say, Bambi, me not see you. And when election time come here, look for come on. It's not an easy road, as Buju say. But I'm trying my best. If you're upset with me over something that I maybe said or something that I did or didn't do, don't go and cuss me behind me back and tell the neighbor, them they, come and talk to me. Everybody knows Fitzbramble and everybody know I am the most approachable person. I will listen to you. I may not always agree with you, but I will never disrespect you. And I will never devalue your ideas. So if you have an issue with me, please, for God's sake, come and talk to me. And I am also smart enough to know that everybody would not support me politically. I ain't stupid. But I will make sure that even though you didn't support me politically, I am the representative for everybody in this constituency. And anybody who knows me knows that. I don't discriminate. Because if everybody support me, I would be very worried. I will be very worried if everybody supports me. Of course, if when the election results come out, I win by, let me say, 7,300 votes and my opponent gets 0, I will be happy. But we know that ain't going to happen. So let's be for real. And on that note, I also want to encourage you. If somebody comes with a different mindset, they tell you, well, me can't support NDP, or they might be critical of certain issues with regards to NDP. Don't be hostile to them. And I'm not saying this just because I want to sound good. I'm serious. You heard my introductory song from Imad? Drop it in, they give me Fuji.
Love of my country have me in tears. I'm begging you, Lord, to answer my prayers. Father, please, we need your intervention to bring us some healing in our land. The enemy is within the gates, destroying us daily. When will we see an end to this suffering and misery? Right now, we're losing at everything. And I want the country to win. I just want St. Vincent to win.
Yeah, Fuji. I appreciate that. I just want my country to win. Listen, I left Canada 5 years ago and I came. Sometimes I just get emotional when I talk this. I came back to my country for one reason. Because I wanted to represent and contribute to my country's development at another level. At the highest level, the political level, parliament. Because I've been representing and supporting and developing my country since I was a young man. My people have always represented. When I was at the Beckway Anglican High School, I represented my school in the national public speaking competition and won it. First time ever in Beckway. I represented Beckway in football as we used to call it the Beckway Island team. I represented this country in football at the junior and senior levels. I represented this country when they had the very first CARICOM secondary schools contest and won it when I was in grammar school doing A-levels. Lyndon Moss and Claire Keys were the other members of the team. I represented this country as a deputy ambassador in Washington, D.C. I represented this country when I served in the Organization of American States as their ambassador in Suriname. The OAS is an organization to which St. Vincent and the Grenadines belong. And I can go on and on. I'm not saying this to thump my chest. I'm saying this to say my only objective is to help my people. I'm not interested in anything else. Fame, I don't need that. I've had enough of that already throughout my life. You know, money, you can't get money out of politics unless you're a thief. I'm telling you, any decent, honest representative will tell you that this profession and this occupation and this vocation and this commitment does not reward you financially. If I tell you my salary, you will quake and tell me I'm lying to you as an elected parliamentarian, but I won't go into that. The point I want to make, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, people of East Kingston, I have no interest in anything else but to represent you and to help you improve your standard of living. I don't care about anything else. So when you go and talk all kinds of things, but bramble this and bramble that, you're only wasting your time. Let me be positive. Because when you get angry at Bramble, all you're doing is drinking poison and hoping Bramble will die. That is what anger does to you. So, let me deal with progress. Let me see how we could take East Kingston forward. My team and I have developed a 40-point plan for developing East Kingston. And the reason why we came up with 40, we could have come up with about 100. But the reason why we came up with 40 was in recognition of the fact that East Kingston has voted a New Democratic Party candidate as their representative for the last 40 years. And I'm going to end off, I'm just going to touch on a couple, not very long. The first one, we're calling it HYPE. We're hyping up East Kingston, HYPE, helping young people excel. And how are we going to do that? And a lot of these initiatives are time sensitive. So don't think we're going to do everything in the first year or the first term. They are time sensitive. This particular initiative, however, will be implemented within the first year of the first term of us being in office. And what it basically aims to do, this is building on the prime program that the government has established. And I always say, without water in my mouth, I think that prime program was one of their best initiatives that they attempted. But unfortunately, as Ariane said, it was a successful failure, the prime program. And we in the New Democratic Party will build and improve and successfully implement a similar program, which is where this HYPE idea comes from. We are going to allocate $1 million. Listen to me. This is no tongue-in-cheek. And as I said, don't expect it in the first year or in the first 6 months. They are time sensitive. So the strategy for implementation must be worked out in greater detail. But my team and I, we have sat down and studied and analyzed these initiatives, many of which come from you, the people, from me listening to people, people sending me text messages, voice notes. Bramble, I think this could work in East Kingston. And we took everything. I continue to get ideas all the time. And don't stop the ideas from coming. The HYPE will allocate $1 million to start 50 businesses in East Kingston. That's $20,000 per business. And we're not just going to get the money for go to New York to shop. We are going to make sure that that program, that HYPE program, works in conjunction with our National Development Bank that we are going to establish and with the Entrepreneurial Hub, where we will provide support and resources and technical guidance and what have you to the young business people who will benefit from that HYPE program. So when we talk about creating more and better paying jobs, we are not talking about the government, the NDP government coming and saying, well, come to the government for get a job. Come up in the complex to the fourth floor and go in Dr. Friday's office for get a job. Come on, we are not that stupid. We are not that pedestrian. We know and we understand what real economic growth means. We know and we understand what it means to create jobs. Creating the environment for people to get more money in their pockets. We know what that means. So when people come and tell you, oh, them they're talking like if government could hire everybody. Nobody is saying that. So don't make people come and fool you and distract you. Another very important initiative, and I see is a girl showing me the watch there. I'm going to give you the last one now. I will give you the last initiative, and on future occasions, we will continue to unveil the initiatives for developing East Kingston. In the meantime, you can go to the East Kingston website. We passed out a bunch of palm cards tonight. The website is on there. There's a QR code. For those of you who are technologically inclined, you can scan the QR code and it takes you directly to the East Kingston website where you can find all of these initiatives and plans. But the last one I will mention tonight is the development of the Sion Hill Beach. You heard me talk about this before. Last election when I introduced it, they laugh and they carry on. But I'm telling you, the development of the Sion Hill Beach will be phenomenal. We are going to, the basic outline has already been done. There are 2 young men from Mallow Village who are engineers in the States. I've mentioned this before. And they're working on developing the initial ideas to take forward. The idea is to, right out by Nancy Rock, for those of you who know the Sion Beach, we're going to put a city fence there. Because you know the waves down, the seawater does be rough. We put in a city fence, of course, with all the environmental studies and assessments, so that we will create something like a big pool, kind of like out what you have out Waraku. Yeah? And then we are going to put a boardwalk from the Sion Hill Beach all the way around on the coastline to the tarmac. So you could exercise, you could ride your bike. That will also come with shops, restaurants, bars, you name it. Proper facilities for change and toilets. And most importantly, the water park. The water park will come. School just opened. I have must be about 200 godchildren. I'm godfather for so many children. And for the entire summer vacation, the kids are just home with nothing to do. You know that. They're home with nothing to do. The water park will create an alternative for them. Not to mention the benefits from tourism with the water park. So when we talk about economic development, and when we talk about the 4 pillars of our economy, and creating more and better paying jobs, and expanding our economy, and providing better infrastructure, and better health care, and a safer community, the 5 priorities of the NDP, that is what the East Kingston constituency and your representative and your next member of government will do to develop this country. Let me finish by saying this. I'm going to finish by saying this. We need to focus on the bigger picture. And as I said before, don't be sidetracked on minor issues. Particularly my colleagues, I'm appealing to all of you publicly. All of us. Let us continue to be disciplined. Let us not get distracted by all of these other distractions. As I said before, everybody have their opinions. Everybody have their ideas. They may say things that may even be disrespectful in some regards. But let us not go down the same road. Let us not go down the same rabbit hole. We have to move forward together. But we can only move forward together if you, the people, realize the power that you have. And this representative and the New Democratic Party will put the power back into the hands of the people. Power to the people of East Kingston. Power to the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. East Kingston, I want to thank you. I want to tell you how much I love you. I don't have to say it, you know it. And I want to tell you, make sure you register to vote. Make sure you go out and vote. I hear all these compliments, if I may call them. So, Bramble, you don't win. You don't have no opponent, this, that, yada, yada. And all of that feels good. But if you don't vote, Bramble can't win. The worst mistake you can make is to stay home and say Bramble don't win. East Kingston now vote for nobody else but NDP. And if you bring a broom, if NDP bring a broomstick, we go vote for them. Well, you got to put your finger where your mouth is. Take your finger and mark the X and dip it in the ink for Fitz Bramble and for the New Democratic Party. I love you. God bless you.
All right. In the essence of time, ladies and gentlemen, we will move straight into